after, I have not ever been prouder of a group of students, nor have I had the opportunity to so closely witness what we've taught for an entire school year being put to use so rapidly and effectively. For an incredible moment, we saw faculty and students working shoulder to shoulder as colleagues, getting the story and relaying it to those who depend on us for the facts. I want to take a moment to acknowledge with our applause everyone who worked on this crucial story and who helped the world better understand what was happening in the green space located just a few dozen yards from where we are right now. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge the students who did not work on this story, but maintained a singular focus to continue reporting on other stories to which they were already committed, despite the distraction of a national news story emerging quite literally at their doorstep. They too demonstrated a skill set that we have emphasized over the course of the school year. So I want to applaud for those students as well. With all the talents and abilities you possess, you could have pursued any career path, but you chose to report. And this is a noble and indispensable undertaking. At the beginning of the school year, I made two promises. The first was that you would work hard in your time here. And the second is that you would never work harder than the person standing at the front of the classroom. What we promise, most fundamentally here, is a collaboration between students and faculty in the mutual pursuit of journalistic excellence. I think it's safe to say that you worked harder than I expected, and we worked harder than we had planned this year. And I will take a moment to offer you just a small portion of parting advice. Our goal as journalists is fairness and accuracy, but we are not disinterested observers. The words of the old dictum tell us that we should neither fear nor favor the powerful, the famous, the influential figures of our times. We should not care what party the corrupt elected official belongs to. But we do tell our stories for a reason. If we're honest, we'll admit that we do so because we want some people to do something with the information we provide them, even if it is simply to look at the world or at a single individual from a slightly different and better informed perspective. We report on climate change in the hope that these stories will galvanize the will to make changes that will save lives and spare future generations from preventable miseries. We inform the public in line with the ideal that those who know better will do better. This is the story of our profession. There are literally too many instances of stories that generate policy or legislative changes for us to count. But I would be remiss if I did not advise that there is not a one-to-one ratio between knowledge and action. At various points in this fraught year, I've had weighty conversations with students plagued with doubts about the very purpose of journalism. Students who despaired over its utility in moments when human suffering seemed to proceed unimpaired by the exposure to the spotlight of public attention. In those moments, I've pointed out that we have perhaps been too glib, too self-congratulatory about the work that we do. We've pointed to the highlight reel of changes inspired by our work, while editing out the very many instances in which our best efforts go seemingly unnoticed. The idea that those who know better will then do better is a vastly simplifies human nature. The complexities of world affairs, the entrenched and detrimental habits rusted in place by the inertia of tradition, all the assorted messiness of the world we live in. Yet journalism remains a public good. It remains one potential avenue for bettering this place that we have inherited. I've taken in the past year to retelling the story of Emmett Till. Most of us know the outline of his story. The 15-year-old black boy who traveled from Chicago to visit relatives in Mississippi in the summer of 1955. His murder at the hands of two white men became the catalyst for the civil rights movement, particularly after the magazine publisher John H. Johnson made the audacious decision to run images of Till's ruined body in Jet magazine, where it got nationwide exposure. But inspiring as it may be, this story of the power of the press is too simplistic to be accurate. There were thousands of cases like Till's in the preceding decades, most of them chronicled in Black news outlets of the time, none of which sparked the scale of national outrage that Till's did. It's easy to imagine the frustrated cynicism of journalists who wrote those stories, wondering if their work made any difference at all. This raises the question, if these cases were fundamentally similar, what explains the vastly different reaction to Till's? The answer is that the facts were the same, but the context in which those facts existed had changed. The development of the medium of television, the dawning global competition of the Cold War, and a great migration that was reorienting the axes of American politics meant that the moment in which Till died was fundamentally different from any moment that had preceded it. As humans, even as humans who are professionally dedicated to noticing details, as journalists are, it is still incredibly difficult to know exactly when our context changes. But it is in those moments that our ability to make change becomes most dramatically maximized. I was saying something really important, then someone was like, yeah. But it is in those moments that our ability to make change becomes most dramatically maximized. 2 weeks ago, I received a call from Jodi Kantor, who was one half of the reporting duo that broke the New York Times story about the serial abuses of the Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein. Ms. Kantor called me to commend the student journalists at Columbia University for their outstanding work covering the campus protests over the war in Gaza. But during that conversation, I was reminded again that the groundbreaking story that Jodi Kantor and Megan Twohey reported had been preceded by hundreds of other such stories of powerful men abusing women in their employ, none of which sparked the global outrage and reckoning that the Weinstein story did. The Kantor-Twohey story, as excellent as their reporting was, also arrived in a context that allowed people to see the breadth of the problem in the world around them. In light of this, a more honest version of the dictum would be, those who know better may, at some unforeseeable point in the future, eventually get around to doing better. But it is this sliver of possibility that offers hope to the people whose stories we tell. We glorify the moment at which the context changes, but our most important contributions take place in the intervals in between. The points at which we are seem hopelessly locked in an intractable cycle of reporting the same story again and again and again. The skills you have honed over the course of your time in Pulitzer Hall will overwhelmingly be deployed in the spaces in between. You'll report innumerable stories about gun violence or the looming impositions of climate change or the reign of ancient bigotries that reanimate themselves in our allegedly modern lives. But as I told you in August, we report these stories to hasten the day when we no longer need to report these stories. At the J School, it is our responsibility to facilitate your efforts. And that assistance takes many forms. Sometimes it is the mentorship, training, and feedback that you receive in the classroom. Sometimes it is what I like to call the Columbia Extended Warranty Program, where you can seek out the advice and insight of your professors long after graduation. And sometimes it takes the form of even more direct elements of assistance as you make your way through your career. Last year, when I addressed our graduating class, I announced the launch of our pioneering loan repayment assistance program. I'm happy to announce that in January of this year, the first tranche of loan repayment checks went out to our alumni. 34 graduates of Columbia Journalism School working in nonprofit news received checks of $10,000 each to pay off student loan debt. This program is already making a difference in the ability of our graduates to navigate the journalism profession and to do the vital work so central to their lives and our futures. We will soon be accepting applications for our second round of participants. I encourage each of you to keep this in mind and look out for the email indicating the opening dates this fall. We walk out this door today to be greeted by a host of in-between moments. Our work exists in the hyphen between beginnings and endings. I have no doubt that you will acquit yourselves today ably as you tell the stories of your time. Remember, too, that the world possesses its share of wonders, of unanticipated joys, and common achievements, and those stories warrant telling just as well. The doors of Pulitzer Hall remain open to you now as alumni of this institution. Thank you and congratulations. And I will now introduce Rex Smith, the chair of our alumni board. He is a graduate of the class of 1980 and current chair of the alumni board. He spent 3 decades leading New York State newsrooms, including 18 years as the editor-in-chief of the Times Union in Albany. He is now the creator of the Upstate American, which is published by Substack, and a commentator on media and society on Northeast Public Radio. So Rex.
Thank you. I'm very honored to have this opportunity today to be here with your extraordinary faculty and with you, the terrific class of 2024. My task is really rather simple, not to inspire or laud you, which is expected of most graduation speakers and which you certainly deserve, but rather to offer you a word from your future. Because today you join me and several thousand other people who are part of the greatest network in journalism, Columbia Journalism Alumni. This affiliation is strong because it's forged in remarkable shared experience. While the curriculum has changed a lot over the school's 112-year history, it has always been rigorous, even exhausting, as I'm sure I don't need to tell you. And your time here in 2024, of course, has been especially remarkable, as the dean just noted, because of the historic events on this campus that you've witnessed and covered and experienced in part. But every year is arduous at this place. We had a transit strike in my year, for example, that we got to cover, and the beginnings of a presidential race, and so many things going on in the city that were a part of our beat, as that has been of yours. Columbia tests us all, as prepares us for the hard and important work that we've chosen. And having managed to get through it, you know, we share a bit of justifiable pride. Now, with all due respect to Berkeley and Medill and Newmark and all the others, I will say what the dean and your faculty are too polite to suggest. This is the greatest journalism school in the world, and you have mastered it. Yeah. So don't devalue the degree that you claim from this day forward by failing to take full advantage of it and by honoring the precepts that you've been taught here. There are programs for alumni to help us stay in touch with what's going on here and in the field of journalism, including training to help us keep up with the inevitable changes in technology and technique. And there are alumni gatherings to connect us with faculty and great practitioners of our craft. And I urge you to engage in as much of that as you can. And certainly do come back for Alumni Weekend in the spring. Some of my closest personal relationships now were forged here. And they remain with me 40 years and more later, in part because we still come from all over the country to spend, all over the world, in fact, to spend time together. So cherish your Columbia friends and keep in touch with the school. And do what you can, too, when you can, to support those who will follow you, the next generation of Columbia journalism alumni. And just a word about your career. It might go in any number of directions, you know, an opportunity that is yours because of the breadth of what you've absorbed here. Now, I spent about a decade as a reporter in a great newsroom and 3 decades as an editor, a pretty traditional career for journalists of my time, right? My classmates became network correspondents and anchors, lawyers and judges, politicians and professors, communications practitioners, authors and artists, because the skills taught here, gathering information, synthesizing it, and sharing it clearly and honestly, are valued in many fields. But what underlies the Columbia experience, I'd say, is this, simply a commitment to truth-telling, with the expectation that you will be an energetic truth seeker in whatever professional direction you go. That is an honorable pledge, and it is in fact your responsibility now. You will waste this experience and shame our credential only if you willingly engage in work that flirts with falsehood. Don't do that. Don't go to work for Fox News and its ilk, folks. Sorry. That wasn't in my intended script. So, for the good work of truth-telling that I know you will do in the years ahead, and for all the difference that I know you will make, thank you. Congratulations and welcome, fellow Columbia Journalism alumni.
Every year there's a comment that I'm like, just wait till someone has a picture of my reaction to what was said. I now have the pleasure to introduce Rebecca Castillo, who is the advisor to SPJ.
Congratulations. I am an alum class of 2006, so I'm very proud to be here. And the Society of Professional Journalists is an international organization of reporters for broadcast, print, digital media, and photojournalists who support each other and provide examples of best practices of journalism. They remind us to hold ourselves to the highest standards of ethics, integrity, and getting the story right, as well as to advocate the protection of the First Amendment and its guarantees of freedom of speech and press through its advocacy efforts. At Columbia Graduate School of Journalism, Columbia Journalism School, we have a student chapter of the Society of Professional Journalists, SPJ, which also is the de facto student government. All of the officers are elected at the beginning of the fall term. I would like to ask all members of SPJ to stand and get acknowledged for their hard work for the year. This year, LaToya Francis was elected president. When asked why she wanted to be president, she stated in her campaign introduction, "I get involved, I connect, I advocate, and I keep things interesting because life is too short to be boring." I now ask LaToya Francis to come to stage.
Hey, y'all. Hey, thank you for responding to me. Okay, so there are a lot of storytellers in this room, so I hope you don't mind if I tell a few today. Okay, so let's talk about coincidences. Those moments that are beyond comprehension, where things seem to align themselves so perfectly that it's almost suspicious how they happened. It's like when you think of someone you haven't seen in a long time, and then you run into them the next day, and you're like, where did you come from? And how did you know to find me here? And they were just minding their business, and they were thinking the same thing. It's like when you choose to study journalism at Columbia, and right at the end of your experience, the biggest news story in the country plays out right in front of you. At a scholarship breakfast yesterday, Marie, reflected on some of her time spent reporting on campus protests, and remembered Dean Cobb joking that the entire situation was a simulation created by the J School to assess our skills. So that explains that one in case anyone was wondering. But I've been thinking a lot about these kinds of moments where timing and alignment are critical and seemingly beyond our own control, like what brought us all here today. Some of you are probably like, the one train, like, but I'm urging you to think bigger. When I sat to write this speech in the middle of the night, last night, after months of juggling multiple thoughts about what I wanted to say to y'all today, I kept thinking of all the instances that led me here. Walk with me for a moment. As I was writing this speech at the last minute, I thought about when I was applying to J School and the series of coincidences that led me to that. Someone I had never met in person but followed on Instagram inspired my response to the infamous prompt, "Tell us about yourself," in the application. I came across her reel on Instagram where she was talking about stepping into a new era in her life, and I wrote my application essay about the era that J School would be for me, and I called it my red lip era, where I'd be unapologetic and pay homage to the powerful women who inspire me in all that I do. Evidently, I got in and had the opportunity to live out that era. A few weeks ago, this young woman and I met up at a cafe for the first time. Her name is Tashaya, and she's here today. We clicked instantly and also showed up in the same outfit. Coincidence, I guess. I talked to her about some of the instances that I'm about to share with y'all today, and she recommended a book called When God Winks by Squire Rushnell. In it, he basically describes coincidences, moments of inexplicable alignment and reassurance that you're on the right path, as God winks. Instances where God winks at you, like a parent or guardian would when you lock eyes with them growing up and they wanted to encourage you and let you know that you are seen and loved. This is how I'll be referring to these moments moving forward, as God winks. I had a few major God winks during my time here at J School. One was when I was taking Video 1 with my reporting professor, Nina Alvarez, and our adjunct professor, Matt. My partner, Allison Williams, shout out Allison, and I were doing a story about what it's like to be Black at my high school in Brooklyn. We made several trips back and forth from Harlem to Bay Ridge, and on one of those days, Allison and I were in the hallway at the school talking to potential sources when I locked eyes with a woman walking up the hallway. We both paused, looking at each other really hard. We had seen each other before. We were both trying to figure out where and when. She was a relatively new Black faculty member at the school. She started there after I graduated, so we didn't meet there. We asked each other questions until we got it. She was my very first therapist at Cornell. I went to her a few times in my sophomore year when I started to feel lonely, and in my very first session with her, we had a long chat about guess what it was like to be Black at my high school, and how those emotions were resurfacing for me in undergrad. I consider this a God wink. Another moment was in culture writing last semester with Marlo Stern. Do you all remember the writing test that we had to take when we were applying to J School? Okay, so one of the prompts that I got was to write a pitch about someone in my community whose story I would tell. I remember sitting in that moment on a time crunch and deciding to write a pitch about spotlighting Pop Smoke's mom and close community. For those of you who don't know, Pop Smoke was a rapper from my neighborhood, Canarsie, Brooklyn. And he put Brooklyn drill music on the map and on a world stage, and died very young to gun violence, quickly becoming another unfortunate headline of a young rapper, age 20, gone too soon. We were the same age when he died. In culture writing, my friend Sophia Mareke, who's, shout out Sophia. I can't see y'all, so but I know she ain't here. My friend Sophia and I sat next to each other in class on the day that Marlo paired us up based off of who we were sitting next to. I proposed my pitch about Pop Smoke to her, and she was happy to work on it together. That piece turned into my first byline ever, and we were published in Rolling Stone. That, to me, is a God wink. There were many more of these instances during my time at J School, but I wanted to quickly go back to before J School was even a thought for me. My grandma, my mom's mom, died about 9 years ago when I was 15. Shortly after she passed, I had a dream with her in it. This is my first time sharing it with this many people. In the dream, I remember giving her a gift. It was a very light-colored sweatshirt that looked white, and it had blue lettering on it. It looked like a college sweatshirt. But I couldn't make out what the text on the sweatshirt was in the dream. But I know that she was really happy to receive it. For years, I didn't know what that dream meant. Afterwards, I would go on to attend undergrad at Cornell, where the color is literally bright red. I kept an eye out for if I ever saw a sweatshirt that looked like the one I saw in the dream, and I didn't. I graduated from undergrad in 2022. I spent a year in between trying to figure out what was next. A series of God winks put J School on my radar, and I secretly decided to apply about a month or so before the deadline. I kept it to myself for a while because I wanted to be sure that it was a decision that I was making for myself. I visited campus one day for a tour with Ross as a prospective student. I sat outside of Pulitzer Hall for a while afterwards and noticed students walking around in sweatshirts with blue lettering. Around this same time, my hair was out in an afro. I wasn't blonde yet. When I went home that day, I dug up some of my leave-in conditioner. I was just rummaging through, trying to find leave-in conditioner so I could moisturize. And as I was dipping my finger into the container, I felt something in it. A ring. Some of my classmates may have noticed that I wear a lot of jewelry every day. One staple is a necklace I have on right now, and it has my grandma's rings on it. So basically, while I was rummaging through my Shea Moisture, I found a ring in there, and it was one piece that I didn't even notice had come off of the necklace. I considered this a God wink, confirmation that I was making the right decision with J School. Fast forward to today. We're gathered here in the Roone Arledge Auditorium in Alfred Lerner Hall at Columbia University. As I mentioned before, my grandma died when I was 15. So she never made it to a high school or college graduation, but education was always so important to her. She lived her entire life in Jamaica and didn't get much schooling herself, but she wanted me to get as much of it as I possibly could. There was one ceremony that my grandma did make it to, though, and it was my commencement from Prep for Prep when I was about 12 years old. Prep for Prep is an academic leadership program for middle schoolers that got me my scholarship to my private high school that Allison and I reported on in the fall. My commencement ceremony from Prep for Prep was held in the Roone Arledge Auditorium at Alfred Lerner Hall at Columbia University. About 12 years ago, my grandma sat in this room and saw me graduate from a program that would alter the entire trajectory of my life. This program afforded me every academic opportunity from that point onward and undoubtedly planted the seeds that led me to the J School. A God wink, undeniably. Now, what's the point of me sharing all of this with you today? Our world is full of uncertainty. Journalists know, perhaps better than anyone, how much nuance this world holds and how scary it can be. We seek out the stories that are yet to be uncovered and all the questions no one ever asked. A shameless plug. We have a class called the Memory Project, and we wrote a book together. It's called No One Ever Asked, available for purchase on Amazon. In the midst of this uncertainty, where we can't seem to escape the phrase unprecedented times, we must act in unprecedented ways, over and be brave, and go forth with excellence, integrity, commitment, and courage. These 4 words are Prep for Prep's motto, and ones that I've lived by for over half my life now. I urge each of us, as we go forth into this uncertain terrain, to look for your God winks. The first chapter in When God Winks starts with a quote by Albert Einstein. He says, "I shall never believe that God plays dice with the world. It is no accident that you're here. that you came to this school at this time and met these people and had these experiences. Consider this achievement a God wink. In the book of Esther, chapter 4, it says, "Perhaps you were born for such a time as this." Even if you don't believe in God, you're a journalist, so I know that you believe in truth. And the truth is that you belong here, and you've got this, and I hope you'll look out for those moments of reassurance along the way. Tell the truth when institutions lie and abuse their power. Allow your work to combat injustice and shed light on victims that the world would rather ignore. Allow your work to be a vehicle to freedom for those people, and be mindful of the role you play in telling others' stories. Embrace vulnerability and tell stories with authority. Thank you to the people here that have believed in and poured into us. Thank you to everyone in admissions and on the 7th floor of Pulitzer, Pamela, Charette, Dean Haskins, Dean Miller, Dean Cobb, everybody, for allowing me to park myself in your offices to complain, vent, joke around, grab snacks, and bother you. And thank you to all of my professors, to Robin Akasa and Ty Lawson for seeing me so deeply and for pushing your students to be better than what we think is our best. Thank you to Jamie Becker from reporting and to Nina Alvarez for spending hours with me on the phone late at night when I was struggling with deeply emotional stories. Thank you to Michael Shapiro for encouraging me to challenge him in class even when he thought he was right. And most importantly, thank you to my colleagues, to the close friends I made here outside of class, and through trauma bonding through reporting and memory project. Also, shout out to SPJ and to our advisor, Rebecca Castillo, and all the affinity groups for all of your work throughout the year. It has been a privilege to be SPJ president. This experience has been one massive God wink, and I'm eternally grateful for it all. And I know my family and friends are on the edge of their seats waiting for their shout out right now. So shout out to the home team. It takes a village. Shout out to the home team. It takes a village to create moments like these, and my family and friends have been unwavering in their love and support for me. I owe you guys everything, and I love you so, 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 so much. Before I go, I have a quick note from a ginger in the UK who left us earlier in the year and wanted to say hi to you guys. Hi guys, it's Alex Foster. I should have done this in a British accent, right? I'm not gonna do it. Okay, LaToya very kindly asked me to send over a few words to congratulate you all on graduation. Back in the UK, I've seen some absolutely incredible journalism from y'all, and it's bringing me so much joy to see you guys slaying the game. Seeing this class on the BBC, AP News, Rolling Stone, with photos in the New York Times, you guys haven't even graduated yet, and you're already accomplishing great things. I can't wait to see what you get up to next via Instagram story, LinkedIn post, or ideally, front page spreads in national newspapers. Best of luck to you all. Thank y'all for listening, and congratulations.
LaToya left out that I too was supposed to go blonde for graduation, but I just didn't get around to it. I now have the honor of introducing this year's Columbia Journalism Award winner, Amira Haas. Amira Haas was born in 1956 in Jerusalem to Holocaust survivors. She matriculated at the Hebrew University and Tel Aviv University, where she studied history. She has been at the daily newspaper Haaretz since 1989. See? Sorry. Elisa Solomon coached me on how to pronounce Haaretz. She told me not to mess it up. She's been writing on the Israeli occupation of Palestinian territory in Gaza and the West Bank since 1991. She's lived in Gaza from 1993 to 1997. Since 1997, she has been living in Ramallah and Al-Bira in the West Bank. She is the author of Drinking the Sea at Gaza, which is in several compilations of her articles. Please welcome Amira Haas.
These are extremely dark days in the place where I come from, Palestine, Israel. And it is only natural that it dictates the content and the tone of my talk today. I cannot pretend and claim that I'm sorry to spoil your great day of graduation and your joy, because after all, you chose journalism. Isn't it about facing the reality, defining, describing, and exposing it, especially when it is unbearable? And since we are in Columbia University, it is logical that I start by quoting Bassam Nasser, a friend from Gaza. He, like the other 2,300,000 of people there, has been living in hell on earth in the past 7 months and more. Bassam is a father of 4 and a director of a relief institution who had to escape Israeli-American bombs and flee from Gaza to southern city of Rafah. And now, because of other American-Israeli bombs, he had to flee again with his family from Rafah to another overcrowded refuge in central Gaza, like other hundreds of thousands of people. From time to time, he writes down in English his disparate thoughts and circulates them by WhatsApp. And this is what he wrote around 2 weeks ago. A glimmer of hope emerges from university students, demonstrating the enduring presence of humanity. Panicked, hypocritical politicians swiftly resort to force in order to quell the movement, fearing its global expansion. Repression is enacted to stifle voices challenging the status quo. Police and National Guards are deployed, arresting students who were expelled just hours earlier for speaking out against the violence in Palestine. From Gaza to New York and other major cities worldwide, I want to express deep gratitude for these voices. While you may not be able to save every child in Gaza or restore our shattered lives and dreams, and your efforts won't prevent the next devastating airstrike that will wipe out our entire family, on behalf of every Palestinian, I want to express heartfelt appreciation for raising awareness to our plight. These are the words of Bassam Nasser. Earlier, I mentioned the reality, and I was wrong, or at least not accurate, because there is not one, but a variety of parallel and interwoven realities that may be condensed in any small place, even such as a household, a school, or a city. Some realities are really great to be experienced and lived, others are less and much less than less. What makes them all one reality are the gaps, the differences, the contradictions. I usually avoid shortcuts and conclusions that may sound like slogans and cliches. So let me soften the cliche by first describing a scene. On Monday and Tuesday, I was walking here in my hotel's neighborhood in Broadway Street, or Boulevard, or Avenue, I don't know. On the sidewalk, along the many large and rather fancy food shops, some homeless people were stretched, bundled, or sitting down. Some even gave up asking for our cents. They and the elegant shoppers live in two different realities. What is uniting and separating them at the same time is enormous and not accidental injustice, which is not the fault of one individual, but of a system. The journalism that I chose to practice is based on the refusal to see injustice as normal, the refusal to normalize it to a point that we do not see it. This is exactly what the students here in Columbia and in so many other campuses in the US and now in Europe have been doing. Refuse to accept hell as normal, for which I'm also so grateful, like Bassam. I'm grateful as someone with many friends in Gaza and as a Jew who was born in Israel to Holocaust survivors. Here I must pause and confess. Unlike you, I did not study in a school of journalism. I studied history. I haven't even reviewed the programs that your school has or any other school of journalism. So it's only now that I realized it when I wrote it, and I'm embarrassed to admit it. I'm sure that if I did study journalism, I would have learned and gained a lot, benefited from the others' experiences, and spared myself many mistakes. I do wonder if you and your professors agree with my kind of flexible conclusion or approach that there is not one kind of journalism, and that it is indeed a matter of choice which one we practice, shape, and recreate in the course of our work. I was intrigued and always angered by the very fact of parallel and contradictory realities. I chose then to see the gap, the tension, the injustice, and explore them and explore the reasons for them. I can put it differently. I decided that my role as a journalist was to examine structures and mechanisms of control, to monitor power, to challenge the powerful. I saw journalism as a form of social activity that aims to restrain power and its abuses on behalf of citizens and within the framework of an unwritten social contract between us and them, the citizens. Democracy's watchdog, or the fourth estate. I did not invent it. David Remnick of The New Yorker just published a short article about Haaretz coverage during this war, and defined also what I was doing as anatomizing structures. I liked it, but I would only ask to be more specific. Anatomizing structures of Jewish supremacy and Israeli settler colonialism. Today is the 15th of May. It is the day that Palestinians commemorate the Nakba, the plight, the catastrophe that the establishment of Israel has inflicted upon them 76 years ago. It cannot be forgotten. It is not forgotten, and the Nakba is still going on. Power and corruption abuse that comes with any power are manifested in different ways and areas in the Israeli society as in any other society. But the Israeli domination over the Palestinians has been the most vile, cruel, destructive, and dangerous of all, and the least covered by the Israeli press in general. Not only as a child of Holocaust survivors, but also as a red-diapered baby, the occupation was a natural focus for me, became a natural focus for me. Very early on in my career, in 1991, when I just started reporting from Gaza, I got signals from the Israeli military authorities that they were not happy with me. They were used to journalists to publish their public relations statements about how well they treated the occupied population, the natives. Tzvi Barel, then Haaretz deputy editor-in-chief, and himself a former correspondent in the West Bank, and an ex-military officer in Hebron in the 70s, told me, if you annoy them, it means you did your job. I liked it too. But back then I expected to do much more than just to annoy power. I believed that writing about what people did not know would make a change, have a positive impact, open eyes, contribute to the movement against the occupation. Not I alone, needless to say. At the time of the first Palestinian popular resistance, and initially unarmed uprising against the occupation, I saw my work as a link in a change of Israeli activities in favor of withdrawal, for dismantling the settlements, for peace. When I started my reporting in the early 90s, there were several others in the Israeli mainstream commercial media who already covered aspects of the Israeli military occupation from a critical point of view, not one which accepts it or embraces it. Ori Nir and Gidon Levy at Haaretz, Dani Rubinstein and Michal Sela of the Labour Party Daily, back then it's closed by now, called Davar, their basic position was that the occupation and repression that comes with the grab of land were wrong and contradicted the real Israeli interests. So I was not the first one, and certainly not the only one. The expectation to bring about a change was not out of megalomania, of myself or others, but rather an expression of confidence in people's rationality. Some believe that the signing of the Oslo Agreement between Israel and the PLO in 1993 indeed proved the victory of rationality. Here I was practically alone among my colleagues in my early assessment and observation that the Oslo Accords, the so-called peace process, were used by Israel to deepen its control over the Palestinians and its grip over their land in order to thwart the establishment of a Palestinian state alongside Israel. I was very reproached about it. People said that I was ideological and not professional. But unfortunately, time has proven that I was right, professionally and politically. I have been living among Palestinians since 93, so it was easy to see and to observe that the occupation had no intention to wither away. It only changed ways. I often concluded my opinion pieces with a statement that the normal life that Israelis lead while depriving an entire chained people of its right for self-determination is abnormal. And I also wrote that this anomaly cannot and will not continue forever. From time to time, I allowed myself to warn that holding the Palestinian people as captives under our ever more cruel, unwanted rule will lead to more brutality, up to a point of no return. I could not really imagine how terrible it would be and what it would mean to be right here. The Hamas attack and massacres of 7th of October was not the beginning as Israel and the American administration portrayed, and also Jewish communities around the world. But rather, it was a not unforeseen response, a response of condensed atrocities in 1 or 2 days, to accumulated Israeli atrocities perpetuated over decades and becoming ever more widespread. It was a cruel, bold, well-planned military operation that shattered the normalization of Israeli rule over Palestinians, such a rule that left Palestinians without any hope and horizon. At the same time, from a political, ethical, and human point of view, this attack was a miscalculated initiative. Israel under Benjamin Netanyahu and the Messianic settlers, who are the strongest part of this government, do not care about the hostages and their lives. And they opted, and they are pushing until now, for a non-ending war, a war without an expiry date, of destruction and annihilation. And annihilation is their word. Now there is no hope and no horizons for Gazans, and also for Israelis. After 34 years of work, I admit failure, of mine and others, who believe that well-founded and researched information and more critical analytical knowledge will positively contribute to the end of occupation. Haaretz is the sole Israeli mainstream news venue that enables its journalists to exercise their right for freedom of information, speech, and opinion. But the Israelis do not have the duty to be informed. And even if they are informed, they do not care. At the backdrop of this massive failure, personal and general, receiving the annual award of Columbia School of Journalism warms my heart and encourages me. I allow myself to see in it an appreciation of what I define as low-tech journalism. I cannot boast about major scoops that I have published over the years, of hidden documents that I unearthed or received, or spectacular leakages of secret information. No, I'm not this type of a journalist. On the contrary, the information that I collect and collected, double-checked and double-checked, verified, and wrote about and write about, is almost completely open and accessible. Anybody can access this information. It is based on people's everyday life, testimonies that they share with me and that they share with anybody who is ready to listen. There are hundreds of people, if not more, that I should thank for this, and for the fact that you here in this university and in this School of Journalism value the professional work of bringing these people's voices. Luckily, I'm running out of time, so I will not tell you at length what I would have done differently. I would have done a lot. But I would admit that I have second thoughts about the time I devoted separately to many individual cases of bureaucratic harassments, such as no Israeli permit to go to medical treatment or study in the West Bank or see an ailing parent, or military arbitrariness of keeping people at a checkpoint for hours at stretch, or arresting a shepherd that a settler attacked. I was asked to intervene on behalf of these people as part of my journalistic work and outside of it. In the past, writing about it, or even the mere phone call to the authorities, procured a permit, or could procure a permit in many cases, or open the checkpoint, or enable an earlier release of a person. But from a professional point of view, it was not very interesting. It was the role of a human rights organization assisted by a journalist, because till, not now, but until 2 or 3 years ago, the authorities were embarrassed when such a bad news item would be published about them. Today, not at all. Today, I acknowledge that it has taken too much energy of me at the expense of investigating the phenomenon in a defined frame of time and text. Your award, obviously, is given to people of an advanced age, but journalism is a Catholic marriage. So I still have time to learn from young Israeli colleagues of mine who follow and cover the ever-tightening Israeli dictatorship over the Palestinians. Hagar Shezaf of Haaretz, and Oren Ziv and Yuval Avraham of the leftist excellent news website 972. And now, as a way of parting or congratulating you for your achievements and for your future achievements and for the hard work that you gave in this school, I want to share with you an advice of an old person, old journalist. For several reasons, I got used to working on my own. I don't know if I will be able to change my ways now, But here is my piece of advice to you. Try as much as possible to work in teams with fellow reporters, with your editors, with the satellite footage wizards. The ugliness and evil are better confronted while in groups or couples. And believe me, much ugliness and evil are awaiting you if you choose the path of journalism that does refuse to normalize injustice, wrongdoing, and any supremacy. Thank you.
I will now read the names of our honor students, award winners, and Pulitzer Fellows. The Gene Anderson Climate Change Award goes to Lauren Watson. Oh, I forgot to say the most ignored sentence in the English language, which is, please hold your applause to the end. It's just one of those things that you say, and I'm obligated to say it. The Gene Anderson Local Journalism Award goes to Carla Marie Ponder Sanford. The Gene Anderson Social Justice Journalism Award goes to Natasha Caragnano. The Best MA Thesis goes to David Lerner. The first runner-up for MA Thesis goes to Sasha Biasio. The second runner-up for MA Thesis goes to Sarah Maria Schroer Lopez. The Nona Balakian Award goes to Allison Amant. The Richard J. Blood Award goes to Peter Salfield. The Brown Tao Award goes to Shalaka Shinde. The Campbell Award goes to Wellington Suarez. The DuPont Judy F. Crichton Award goes to Bibi Liu and Mayara Teixeira. The DuPont Judy F. Crichton Honorable Mention for the award goes to Jasmine Jiwa. The Philip Greer Scholarship Fund Award for an MA goes to Vivian Lin. And the Greer Scholarship Award for an MS student goes to Joe Stoner. The Arthur J. Harris Memorial Prize goes to Noor Idris. The Fred M. Heckinger Journalism Education Award goes to Sarah Elizabeth Komar. Journalism Editorial Award goes to Sama Kuller. The Peter Keller Prize goes to Anne Schmidt Dubois. The Joan Connor Broadcast Journalism Award goes to Liam Mann. The Linton Fellowship in Book Writing goes to Caitlin Hashem. I'm sorry, it goes to Caitlin Hashem and Lauren Rosenthal. The Mincher Award goes to Peter Salfield. The 3 Morton Mintz Fellowships go to Yasmin Altaji, Noor Idris, and Ekaterina Vinkina. The Henry Taylor Award goes to Lailu Margaron. The James Weckler International Reporting Award goes to David Lerner. The Weckler National Reporting Award goes to Francesca Lorenzini. And the Weckler Local Award goes to Emily Njayan. The Lewis Awinick Award goes to Edward Lopez. The Pulitzer Award for Culture Reporting goes to Hannah Davies. And our Pulitzer Fellowships go to Liam Mann, Chioma Wana, Ashley Elizabeth Miller, and to our valedictorian, Chloe Appleby. Our honors graduates are Chloe Appleby, Caitlin Balasegun, Curtis Brodner, Elise Sayral, Aaron Davis, Ching Young Ding, Jillian Taylor Goodman, Caitlin Hashem, Jacob Imber, Emily Njayan, Mukta Joshi, Ariane Luthi, Liam Mann, Lilu Margaron, Vonda Mayer, Ashley Elizabeth Miller, Caitlin Moody, Trisha Mukherjee, Ella Larkin Napak, Chioma Wana, Jill Riley, Lauren Sanyella, and Nathan Siegelub. Oh, I'm sorry, I have three more. Natalia Silva, Jude Samer Subi Taha, and Juan Vasallo. And now I will invite Dean Haskins to the podium to begin conferring degrees. So I'll also take this moment to point out, last year I stood on stage and everybody walked right by me as they got the degrees. I was sitting there trying to shake hands and everybody just went straight for the degree. So I'm giving official notice that I am standing here in the light blue Columbia colored suit to shake your hand en route to receiving the degree.
All right, this is it. And yes, I've seen all the YouTube videos of the wild mispronunciations during graduation, so please don't send them to me again, but I will promise you today that I will do a slightly better job than that. So I see you're already lining up over here, and for each group of students, we'll be asking your lead instructors to come by. First, we'll be doing PhD, Masters of Arts, and then Masters of Science based on your lead instructors. So can we first have Michael Schützen and Andy Tucker? And our doctoral student from New York, New York, Sherry Michelle Henderson. And I'm going to move this along. So if we could welcome, well, after this is the hooding ceremony. This is very special. I'll get out of the way. Next up will be David Haydu and Elisa Solomon to present our Masters of Arts in Arts and Culture. First, from Baraboo, Wisconsin, Allison Amont. From Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Victoria Borlando. From London, United Kingdom, Hannah Davies. From New York, New York, Lily Nacy Goldberg. From Brooklyn, New York, Sophia Herring. And from New York, New York, Nu Edris. I agree, I do. Now for our Masters of Arts in Business, Winnie O'Kelly and Clifton Leaf. First from Brest, France, Mathilde Augustine. From Scottsdale, Pennsylvania, Alyssa Chouanier. From Gloucester, Rhode Island, Nicole Elizabeth Kyle. From Melbourne, Australia, Vivian Lynn. From Fortaleza, Brazil, Camila Veras Mota. And also from Melbourne, Australia, Chadwick Van Estrop. Now for our Masters of Arts in Politics. Please welcome to the stage Nicholas Lehman and Alexander Steele. Here we go. From Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Yasmin Altaji. From Potenza, Italy, Sasha Biazzo. From Matola, Italy, Natasha Carniano. From Manila, the Philippines, Corinne Isabel Roya Catabayan. From Porto Alegre, Brazil, Julia Vargas Jones. From Milan, Italy, Davide Lerner. And that's Elio, if anybody wants that for captioning purposes. From Manila, the Philippines, Julia Ornedo. From Malaga, Spain, Sarah Selva Ortiz. From Mumbai, India, Arshi Qureshi. From Cologne, Germany, Sarah Shoya Lopez. From Copenhagen, Denmark, Lisa Monk Seidlin. From Sao Paulo, Brazil, Wellington Suarez. From Copenhagen, Denmark, Emily Stein Thorsen. From Moscow, Russia, Ekaterina Venkina. From Istanbul, Turkey, Dile Yalçın. And from Rasht, Iran, Kurish Ziobari. And again, for captioning purposes, that would be Terma with him. She's 9. Now for the MA in Science, Marguerite Holloway and Jonathan Weiner. From New York, New York, Fiola Arifi. From Nashiti, the Navajo Nation, New Mexico, Alistair Lee Bitsoy. From Berkeley, California, Julia Elena Musto. From Buenos Aires, Argentina, Lucila Pinto. And from Austin, Texas, Seth Smalley. Now to present our certificates in business and economics journalism for the Knight Badgett program, Robert Smith. From Southfield, Michigan, Tyler Clifford. From Annapolis, Maryland, Emma Cosgrove. From Phoenix, Arizona, Michael Raymond DiCastillo. From Dobbs Ferry, New York, John Fassman. From Severn, Maryland, Layla Jones. From Durban, South Africa, Pranesha Naidu. From Chicago, Illinois, Taylor Nakagawa. And from Monroe, Washington, Lauren Rosendahl. Now to present our Spencer Fellowship in Education Journalism, Linnell Hancock. From Diyarbakir, Turkey, Shema Bayram. Now to present our Masters of Science in Computer Science and Journalism, Drumal Mehta. From Shandong, China, Yan Sun. And from Nanjing, China, Siqi Karen Wang. Now, there's a bunch of them on this next one here. So to begin our MS in journalism, as I said, we'll be doing it by your lead instructor, so if I could welcome to the stage Danielle Alarcon. From Houston, Texas, Brianna Benitez. From London, United Kingdom, Cecilia Blotto. From Richmond, Virginia, Kristen Sarah Cashwell. From Maplewood, New Jersey, Claire Davenport. From Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, Alexa Faust. From Bristol, United Kingdom, Dominic Hall Thomas. From Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, Caitlin Hashem. From New York, Vincent Jong. Yeah, the names are easy. It's the cities like New York, that trip me out. From Sonoma, California, William Francisco Kilgore. From Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Jesse Lynn. From Geneva, Switzerland, Sophia Mereke. From Magnolia, Delaware, Xiomara Moore. From Nerstrand, Minnesota, Olivia Schmidt. From Sao Paulo, Brazil, Natalia Silva. Now if I could welcome to the stage Nina Alvarez and Jamie Roth. From Mumbai, India, Serena Balani. From Houston, Texas, Andrea Calderon. From Brooklyn, New York, Latoya Francis. From Nashville, Tennessee, Casey Freeman. All right, she insists. She knows how icy I am. That was pretty good for me, I thought. From Nanchang, China, Tiffany Lian Wan. From Lahore, Pakistan, Iman Kamil Omar. From Chongqing, China, Mei Qi. From San Francisco, California, Jill Riley. From Xi'an, China, Yishao Ren. From Durham, the United Kingdom, Marine Saint. From Toronto, Canada, Eleanor Shamali. From New Delhi, India, Urvi Srivastava. From Ocala, Florida, Allison Blaine Williams. From Yan, China, Weijian Zhang. Now, if I could welcome to the stage Elena Carbal. From Princeton, New Jersey, Nina Manzuli Ajamian. From Montreal, Canada, Maya Blumenfeld. From Birmingham, Alabama, Ellie Davis. From Panama City, Panama, Gladys Virginia Gerbard Navarro. From Mysore, India, Amulya Hiremat. From Istanbul, Turkey, Elif Melis Karaca. From Bari, Italy, Giulia Leo. From Fresno, California, Edward Lopez. From Sicklerville, New Jersey, Jasmine Matthews. From Harrison, New York, Ella Larkin Napak. From New York, New York, Jason Poterato. From Atlanta, Georgia, Carla Marie Ponder Sanford. From Amman, Jordan, Jude Summer Subi Taha. And from Pasadena, California, Abby Webster. Now, if we could welcome to the stage Alexis Clark. From Ghent, Belgium, Clara Bouters. From Zhaoshan, China, Xintiao Cao. From Los Angeles, California, Ella Chikarian. From London, United Kingdom, Lauren Dalban. From Bentonville, Arkansas, Natalie Desmarais. From New York, New York, Connor Green. From Brooklyn, New York, Emily Njayan. Los Angeles, California, Jillian Montalco. From Appleton, Maine, Caitlin Moody. From New York, New York, Allison Otis. From Budapest, Hungary, Bense Széchenyi. From Venice, Florida, Amelia Valeri. And from Dhaka, Bangladesh, Shayeza Nawar Walid. If we can next welcome to the stage Joanne Ferrion. From Paris, France, Isis Blanches. From Paris, France, Elise Serral. From Brooklyn, New York, Genevieve Pierre Charles. From Ellicott City, Maryland, Aaron Davis. From Bronx, New York, Fahima Dejia. From Genoa, Italy, Elena Gastaldo. From Munster, Germany, Katharina Heflick. From Lexington, Massachusetts, Rachel Kahn. From Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Yasmin Low. From Essoy, France, Lilou Majoron. From Princeton, New Jersey, Tricia Mukherjee. From Pleasanton, California, Hemani Pangal. From Lima, Peru, Ariadna Sandoval. From Toronto, Canada, Samuel Eli Shepard. From Shanghai, China, Faith Wang. And from Chengdu, China, Xiang Rachel Yi. Next up, Sam Friedman. From Charlotte, North Carolina, Chloe Appleby. From San Francisco, California, Sarah Braun. From Seoul, South Korea, Sua Cho. From Mexico City, Mexico, Andrea Valeria Diaz Tolivia. From New York, New York, Jane Lauren Gaudiner. From Zurich, Switzerland, Tara Herschel. From Delray Beach, Florida, Dina Katgara. From Rome, Italy, Francesca Maria Lorenzini. I saw that. From Budapest, Hungary, Vanda Meyer. From Ottawa, Canada, Vikram Nijawan. From Toronto, Canada, Lisa Power. From Baltimore, Maryland, Jane Sartwell. From Newcastle, England, Joe Stoner. From Brussels, Belgium, Mila Tange. And from Irvington, New Jersey, Devania Wilson. Oh, all right. See, you start with one, and you know, she's a hugger. What can I say? Next, we welcome to the stage Howard French and Ty Lawson. From Fairfax Station, Virginia, Bradley William Byrne. From Baldwin, New York, Dean Condoleo. From Saint Romain en Galles, France, Simon Forstauer Fournet. From La Morlaix, France, Elsa Goffo. From Guelph, Canada, Irina Ivanivna, no, now we're going to do it again. Irina Ivanivna Humanik. From Cleveland, Ohio, Alan Ray Cronenberg. From Zurich, Switzerland, Ariane Luthi. From Cutchogue, New York, Catherine McGrath. From Toronto, Canada, Desiree Nikvarjan. From Kathmandu, Nepal, Subeksha Podo. From Calgary, Canada, Andrea Pulgarin Visamil. From Haarlem, the Netherlands, Indy Scholdens. My Dutch is good. From Tracyton, Washington, Kate Sullivan. And from Winter Haven, Florida, Jolie Tanner. Next, going to welcome Keith Gesson and Ariana Lee. From Ravenna, Italy, Tommaso Baronio. From Punta Gorda, Florida, Emily Bursky. From Los Angeles, California, Emmanuel Fonseca. From Irvington, New York, Jillian Taylor Goodman. From Chicago, Illinois, Jacob Imber. From Charlotte, North Carolina, Emily Stratton Lamar. From New York, Christina Mariela Macaya Cisneros. From Kennett Square, Pennsylvania, Ashley Elizabeth Miller. From Millwood, New York, Abby Rose Notar Nicola. From Brooklyn, New York, Brendan Rose. From Mumbai, India, Anusha Shah. From Beijing, China, Margaret Sun. From Sarasota, Florida, Sheila Urea Veliz. And from Nanjing, China, Luna Jingyi Zhu. Now, if I can welcome to the stage Bill Gruskin, Juan Manuel Benitez, and Sheila Coronel. From Toronto, Canada, Khadija Alam. From Paris, France, Natasha Bracken. From Lexington, Massachusetts, Curtis Brodner. From Spanish Fort, Alabama, Julia Caccaro. From New York, Adlai Coleman. From New York, Anne Schmidt-Dubois. From Caracas, Venezuela, Gabriela Enriquez Stoikov. From Toronto, Canada, Pascal Hogue. From Evergreen, Colorado, Lachlan Hyatt. From Pune, India, Mukta Joshi. From India to Palestine, Sama Kular. From Seoul, South Korea, Youngsung Kim. From Kansas City, Missouri, Sarah Elizabeth Komar. From Amsterdam, the Netherlands, Carly Koyman. From Mumbai, India, Oshika Niogi. From Great Neck, New York, Alec Rich. From Brooklyn, New York, Peter Saulfield. And that would be Charlotte, of course. We recognize her. From She's working it. She's like, you know, this is my time. You'll be back in a few years. You'll get your... From Chennai, India, Nandini Srinivasan. From Montevideo, Uruguay, Juan Velasco. From Shirzhuang, China, Yang Zhurai. Now, if I could welcome to the stage Robe Imbriano and Dale Maharaj. From Marlton, New Jersey, Daniela Cobos Hidalgo. From Nanjing, China, Qing Unding. From Marburg, Germany, Johanna Magdalena Hansel. From Westchester, New York, Isabella Lourdes Leahy. From London, England, Ottilie Mitchell. From Fuerteventura, the Canary Islands, Danny Morea Tretin. From Calgary, Canada, Emma Pydra. From Corona, New York, Andrea Pineda Salgado. From Mataró, Catalonia, Spain, Carla Simón Ros. From Cairo, Egypt, Poda Sharif Talat. From Ningbo, China, Xiang Wang. From Squamish, Canada, Lauren Watson. From Tbilisi, Georgia, Miriam Zguladze. Thank you. From Los Angeles, California, Hansi Zhang. And from Beijing, China, Siwen Charlotte Zhao. You know, we do it all here. We do cleanup. We needed a break anyway. Now, if we could welcome to the stage Jimmy So. From Yardley, Pennsylvania, Allison DeLucio. From Seoul, Korea, Haram Lim. From Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, Paul Lindbergh. From Hyde Park, New York, Alicia Alessandra Ling de Bourbon. From Las Vegas, New Mexico, Izepa Macias. From Cleveland, Ohio, Jacqueline Mano. From Pocatello, Idaho, Nicolene Anna Marie McCarley. From Oceanside, New York, Patrick Mochin. So close. From Ancaster, Canada, Shankar Nusatharay.
Congratulations.
From White Plains, New York, Choma Wana. From Valley Stream, New York, Chinyea Rachel Onyike. From Morristown, New Jersey, Christina Praveed. Oh, you're Sydney. And Sydney, okay. From Brooklyn, New York, Emma Stefani. And Sydney, okay. Oh, Sydney. I missed Sydney. There's Sydney. Oh my God, she snuck up on me. Sydney would be 10. Okay. From Brooklyn, New York, Emma Stefania Schottmeyer. And from New York, Aviva Zablocki. Now, if we could welcome to the stage Du Lin Tu and Karen Blankfeld. From Jamshedpur, India, Uzma Afrin. From Singapore, Angelica An. From Freehold, New Jersey, Caitlin Balasagan. From Taipei, Taiwan, Jessica Chining Chen. From Boston, Massachusetts, Sophia Glazer. From London, England, Jasmine Jiwa. From Leesburg, Virginia, Liam Mann. From Boston, Massachusetts, Kylie McCoy. From Atlanta, Georgia, Tobias Hader McCoy. What? I said Hadar. Tobias Hadar. You know, I've been working on your first name for 9 months now. Tobias Hadar McCoy. From Los Angeles, California, Carlin Marie Parker. From Sao Paulo, Brazil, Marco Postigo Storel. From Tel Aviv, Israel, Eleanor Reish. From New Delhi and New York, Vandana Saras. From Toronto, Canada, Joseph Strauss. From Zhengzhou, China, Jia Wu. And from Hangzhou, China, Shuhan Ingrid. And there you go.
It's come to my attention that we apparently have extra degrees here, so parents, come on up. We'll give you one too. This concludes the commencement ceremony. I have to, congratulations again to the 2024 graduating class of Columbia Journalism School. Okay, so I have one final request, and that is for all the guests to remain seated until the students have been able to proceed out into the reception area. And we will have a toast for our students, and the reception will be right out on these 2 levels of learner. So as we go out these doors, and as the students begin, our graduates, I should say, begin making your exits, and we will see you at the reception. Thank you.